elections.
Senator Booker also said we should have bipartisan agreement. I think that's a great idea. We should have bipartisan agreement. How about we all come together and say, let's stop murders? How about we all come together and say, let's stop rape? How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles?
Welcome. This is Tyler, LPR. Thanks. We're here Thursday night. We'll give you a little bit of chance to come in. Tonight, we're going to talk about battling Israel. It seems to be ramping up. I mean, Iran, Tucker Carlson, everybody, Epstein. Hang on, everybody. Coming up.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you! You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. You know, why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is...
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.
We're here, LPR, Thursday night. It looks like it's live, but we're having trouble. I don't know. Maybe people aren't going to come in. This always happens. Look, go to Substack, tyleryonke.substack.com. That's where you're always going to get all the info as far as I usually put it out there right away.
What causes the ear to your
when
heart?
We're coming to you.
Causes
so there you go.
Israel.
Okay, there we go.
Defense of Israel.
Here we are, and I thought I would at least show this. So this is Robbie the Fire is over there on Timcast tonight. He got blown up. I don't know about him, but he got kind of blown up with by Will Chamberlain. Will Chamberlain came after Dave Smith. Kind of like mocking, and it's like, oh, this new guy, and it's like, wait, Robbie's been there I think for like 10 years or close to it. So yeah, I don't know what that's about, but anyway, Robbie the Fire gets his chance tonight over on Timcast, and if you want to go watch that, or maybe that's where everybody is instead of coming in here tonight, possibly. Okay, that's what it is. I want to make sure we're live everywhere else. Let's see here. We're over on Rumble. Yep, we're good there. Substack. Yep. X. We're going there. And are we over on YouTube? I think we're on YouTube as well. Tyler Yonke. We're going to talk about a few things. I'm in a little bit of a frustrated mood right now. Right? You didn't know that, but I'm telling you I am. And the reason being is I'm having some trouble with my golf game. So I got a simulator thing here at home. And it's not always working out quite the way I wanted to, but nevertheless, that's my own problems to work through. Okay, so is this thing on? Yeah, it's on, and I hope you can hear me just fine. I think I can hear me. Welcome. Let's get the chat going up here. Let me see. Last time we got good feedback. We got a lot of negative feedback, which is always solid as well, but we're going to talk about a few things, and I'm sorry it's so Israel related, and I know I'm actually getting tired of it, but I think it's important because we're going to play a few things here. Let me start off with this guy talking about how you can control people with anti-7. Damn, are you going to give up on golf like you gave up on biking? Oh, and Tower Gang? No, I'm not giving up on golf because my son and I play it. I'm in a frustration. I've been playing really well. I went out there last week. I played with my brother-in-law Friday. Played really good. And then I'm playing really good over the weekend, like on this simulator that we have, and it's a lot of fun. Because it's been horrible weather here. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos and stuff of Tahoe, of how much snow, and it's right here by us. So there's been a lot of rain here as well. It's been annoying. So we were able to do this. We're doing it in in the garage. And what just happened here? That hang on, I'm getting my own show getting played back there. Okay, and then all of a sudden I have like this Shanks going on, and so that's I got to work it out. That's all I'm saying. Because I actually play, when I start playing well, but then, just one thing, it reminds me of economics or everything else, which is the politicians come in and they want to resolve one thing. So they see this problem, they don't look underneath at the ramifications, and so they just go and they do one thing that's ridiculous to try to solve this one problem. And then there's all these things underneath. That's how golf is. Golf is like, oh, I've got this problem, so I'm going to fix this immediate thing. But the problem is it relays all the way down to your stance, the way your grip, everything is. And this is a life lesson, which is understanding how things work before, you make these changes. So I'm trying to make some changes. Things are working, but then it's actually causing some problems. So we'll get there. We will get there. Let's play this guy. I don't know who it is, but evidently, he's an ex-Mossad agent. Victor John Ostrovsky describes how they weaponize the word anti-Semitism, which is, I think, perfect, because we saw this with Carrie, Prejean Baller, with, she's doing her thing, and we played some clips of her a few weeks ago with the Religious Council, and it's just, you just call people anti-Semites, and then you don't have to worry about it. And that's fine. That's how the left works, but now that's how the right's working, at least part of the right. So anyway, let's take a listen to this guy.
I know what they do because I used to ask them to do it. I mean, when I was in the Mossad, and we had a guy that gave us problems in the U.S., and he was speaking out, and he was talking like Pete talked once and said, Israel is bombing Lebanon with cluster bombs. We say, hey, who's that guy? Pete Makaki, we used to call him. Yeah, which is Pete the cockroach. Because he makes a lot of noise and you can't get rid of him. So what you do is you get in touch with a guy in the station in New York or in the station in Washington. You say, tell the guys at B'nai B'rith to label him. And of course the campaign starts, and before you know it, the guy's labeled. And he's an anti-Semite. Because that's what we say he is. And that's one stain you cannot wash. Now, it shames me as a Jew to tell you that.
Oh, does it? Okay. SM2049 says, I'm with Tucker. Yeah, I am too. And we're going to talk about this Tucker thing over there in the Middle East, but I'm going to play some of these other things, and we're going to lead into it because I don't think, well, first of all the information isn't out, and I'm waiting for more of it to come, but it's just like Candace. It's interesting to see what people try to point out as problematic. You are incarcerated in Israel. You are? Okay. He's literally, Tucker, solid comment there. I don't think Tucker was actually, this is the problem. We don't know everything. And evidently he wasn't technically in Israel. So we'll get to some of these things here. Okay. Evidently this just came out, and I thought this was interesting. This is breaking. Les Wexner's attorney during his House oversight deposition says, I'll effing kill you if you answer another question with more than 5 words. Okay. And people are kind of freaking out about this, but let's play this here. And then I'm going to give you a little deposition talk. Let me see. Where do I want to? There we go. Let's try this one.
It was just regularly done.
Answer the question.
Okay. It was just
okay. And that's somewhat humorous, at least less. And it's, I know this attorney's frustration. Okay. Whether this guy's involved in it or not. This is a problem, which is, I've talked about this before in trial, in depositions. This is how I communicate this scenario to my clients. I say, and you have to know your clients, especially in family law. Sometimes in civil stuff, you may not work with them all the time, but family, I'm getting to know them quite well, so I can, see how things are going. And you have to know how your client could possibly do yay or nay on different answers and stuff. But I describe it like this. Testifying is a piano. Okay. So if you're being asked a question, then answer the question, but don't go overboard. In other words, when I talk about a piano, if they are going to push one key, I don't want to hear a song. I only want to hear that one key. I only want to hear that one note. They ask you yes or no question, answer yes or no. And they will make them work for it. Don't give them other things to open the door, because there's a lot of things that are not at issue, okay, relevant for a deposition or, trial, as an example. And then suddenly, if you ask a question that goes down a certain path, it can open the door where the judge previously would say, no, we're not, you can object. And, if it tries to go down that, ask certain questions about certain things, the judge is going to, you're going to object and they're going to sustain that. But if you start to ask questions, or if the witness testifies to something and you don't object about, beyond the scope or whatnot, then it's opening the door. So it sounds like to me that's what this attorney's getting frustrated with here. Is like, you're telling them a story. Let's not tell them a story. Make them work for it. They've got specific questions. If you answer something that feels like a gotcha, I'll ask a counter question, and follow up, and we'll fix it. Okay, that's the whole thing there. So I don't have really any issues. This is just Les Wexner trying to talk too much. That's what his attorney is frustrated with. So you just have to understand that. And like this person said, Grok, how is this legal? Oh, this is attorney basically making a joke, just saying, shut up, answer the question. What was I just watching? I was just watching a deposition. It was celebrity stuff. It was Owen Benjamin. Some guy's suing him. And so it's a deposition. And the attorney for this guy that's being deposed, that's suing Owen, is so frustrated. He's just like, answer the question. It's yes or no. I mean, he's almost like berating his own client, which you can do. Okay. Then we've got Randy Fine. He made some post the other day about dogs and Muslims. So let's hear him and Piers Morgan discuss this a little bit. He's a weird man.
I am Jewish, and I would note this. I do not expect people to change how they live because I am part of a religious minority. I don't.
Fine.
So he said something because of Madani, the Muslim mayor of New York, and he's like, I would pick dogs over Muslims. And I tweeted out, I should actually look this up here. I tweeted out, imagine saying that about, replace Muslims with Jews, and Randy Fine would come after you criminally, which is something, is something he would actually do. Let's take a look here, see if I can actually find this tweet, because I wanted to find his actual, okay, there we go. Okay, so Randy Fine, I think he still has it up. He says, if they force us to choose, the choice between dogs and Muslims is not a difficult one. Okay, and I just said, try this with Jew instead of Muslim, and Randy will try to have you jailed. 40K little pop there from the tweets from Tyler. Yeah, so anyway, that's what he said and tweeted, and then he got a lot of shit for it. And then here is he and Piers Morgan talking more about it. Let's go to that one.
Okay, so would you say the same thing? If somebody posted, if they force us to choose, the choice between dogs and Jews is not a difficult one. How would you respond?
That's a great question. Absolutely.
Okay, first of all, I call bullshit, and we're going to talk about that why in a little bit. But first of all, these are the people, you just look through his Twitter feed. Dershowitz, we played quotes of him last week. Dershowitz saying, if you say Jeffrey Epstein was part of Mossad, or even question about Epstein files, you're anti-Semitic. So, and we just played the clip about someone saying about bombing Lebanon, we're going to call him anti-Semitic. Randy Fine, the B'nai B'rith, the Anti-Defamation League, the Zionists, Ted Cruz and those ones in general, they will call you an anti-Semite for just accidentally doing the wrong thing on the wrong day. It doesn't matter. It's amazing how quick trigger finger they have to call you those names. Okay. And as the one guy said, it's a stain you can't get rid of. Well, it's not so much anymore. And it's partly Randy Fine is doing the Lord's work as a Christian, I'm saying, because he's starting to remove the stigma. There's a horrible person. You can just look at him. Okay, Shmuley, he's another just disgusting person, and quite literally. And that's where Candace got in trouble because she called him I don't know, disgusting or whatever. And then he's like, that's Semitic, and I'm like, okay, come on. But this guy will say things about
Muslims
and dogs, and you're okay with it. And
yes.
He says.
But the difference here is that Jews are not asking people to give up their dogs. Jews don't eat pork, but we don't tell people that they can't sell it. One of the things that people are...
Okay. So you're not specifically talking about that issue. However, remember, this is not true. The Federalist, what was it? The one Liberty Caucus or whatever it was, that there was a big brouhaha about Tucker Carlson. They wanted to kick him out. And then they were going to have a Jewish meal where they call you in and they're going to come over to a Jewish lady's house. So you better understand. And one guy's like, I don't want to do that. And they called him anti-Semitic. So they were forcing their halal or their whatever the food is that they eat, their kosher food. And okay, were they trying to say that you're about legality? No, but it was definitely shame.
We're learning through all of this is this dislike of dogs is not unique. This is a mainstream Islamic view, and I'm not criticizing it. Different religions like different animals.
I will say, neighbor right next door, they're doing, I think, Ramadan right now, doesn't like my dog, our dogs, 4 of them. He's scared of him, though. That's what it is. It's not, I don't know if he doesn't like him, but he doesn't like him. It's a very interesting family, that one in particular, because Muslim, he's got a wife, and then they've got 2 girls, and man, does that wife run the family. I don't know if it's they moved to America, and then she's just like said, she's not like Americanized, they're fully religious, but man, he is not, I get the feeling he's the man of the family. She just controls everything, and she'll bark at the dog. Not literally, but figuratively. But yeah, he doesn't like dogs, but I just think that's a scared thing for him.
Animals. Hindus worship cows. Good for them. Muslims don't like dogs. That's okay. I'm not criticizing that. But they are the ones asking us to submit to their faith. And that's not okay in the United States of America. There are 57 countries where you can live under Sharia law. It's my job to make sure we don't become number 58.
It's his job to make sure. This is why he would be perfect at the Daily Wire, because they like to scare you. They like to scare you about Sharia law is coming every which way. And, we've looked into that, and it's kind of questionable. I mean, there's some things here and there, but I mean, it's not what people think about having Sharia law spread so far, at least in the U.S.
Where did anybody say that you had
push
to
against
do
it? It's fine.
Make that post? I think you can make that argument.
That post doesn't say that.
Where did anyone say to do what? I'm sorry.
Where have you got the entire Muslim population of 2 billion people saying that the dogs all have to go? Where have I read that?
Piers. In Morocco, they're shooting 3 million dogs.
Okay, so this is Iran situation, which is we have to go to war with Iran because they are supporting terrorism. Okay, but terrorism to where? Oh, to Israel. Okay. I'm more concerned about why I would go to war if there was a direct sponsor of terrorism to the United States. That's why they tried to have that one guy like, oh, we've seen the files. He actually was trying to kill Trump. And he was part of this Qatari. Oh, the Qataris are out there. They're going to try to kill Trump, or not Qataris. Yeah, was it Qatar? Iran? No, I think it was Iran actually. So it's just like, you're like, come on now. So this guy is worried about Morocco?
In order to get ready for the World Cup. In Judea and Samaria, a mayor paid $5 a dog for everyone that was hunted down. The videos are out there. This is not, and again, I'm not criticizing it. You're allowed to not like an animal. If that's part of your faith, I'm not criticizing that part of it. In your own country, there have been articles and discussions about Muslims not wanting dogs in certain parts of it. They are allowed to not like dogs. That's fine. But what they're not allowed to do is to come to my country and tell me I can't have one. And this woman is not unique in her views.
I don't, maybe I'm missing it. I don't know where I've seen that they're requesting to do that. Now, Randy Fine goes on with Mr. Loomer, and he says this.
Uncommon one. But what people need to understand is it's okay for them not to like dogs. It's not okay for them to tell us that we can't have them. As you pointed out, I'm Jewish. You're Jewish. There are certain things that many Jews do. They don't eat pork, for example. But I'm not aware of Jews that are saying no one can buy pork at the grocery store because we don't eat it. You're allowed to practice your own religion, but you're not allowed to force your views on others. And that's what's so objectionable about this.
Okay, so then I just went to, just the internet, and I did a quick little thing here, and I just said, hey, what laws has Representative Randy Fine passed or proposed advocating against anti-Semitism? So that came up here because he just said he's not at all. You could like dogs or you can not like dogs. And by the way, his intent of his post was, I like dogs more than Muslims. If gun to the head, would I? Okay, maybe I'd choose. I don't know. People are still. I would choose my dogs over almost, especially Randy. Would I say that all dogs are above Jews? He seems to think that you should be able to say that, but he would then say that's anti-Semitic. What are his thoughts on anti-Semitism? Has he tried to make that illegal? Because if you were to say that, he says it's perfectly fine to say it, but does he mean that? He's been a leading advocate for legislation targeting anti-Semitism, both at the state and federal levels. No Anti-Semitism in Education Act in November 2025, Fine introduced this federal bill, which seeks to mandate that schools adopt the IHRA, that's the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism, and treat anti-Semitic discrimination with the same severity or racial or gender-based discrimination. The bill would apply to public, elementary, secondary, and higher education institutions nationwide. Okay, so there you go. There's one aspect that he's like, look, if you said, because if you came to school and said, Randy Fine says if he had to choose between dogs and Muslims, he would choose dogs. And then, so you'd be like in school and you're like, so I choose to, just in his thoughts, I would choose dogs over Jews anytime if I had to make that commitment. And then they would kick you out of school and possibly try to make it, because it's on the books about criminalizing this in multi-states, I think 38 different states. Florida state legislation previously passed similar measures in Florida. He sponsored a 2024 law that codified the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism into state law, aligning Florida with 36 other states. Another law he championed provides dedicated state funding for security upgrades at Jewish day schools, including surveillance, fencing, and armed personnel in response to rising anti-Semitic incidences. Okay, so you may be upset about the dog situation. Don't force that on me. And I'm like, okay, what about my taxpayer money? Right? It goes to, as an example, do I want taxpayer money to go for abortions? Do I want taxpayer money to go to incarcerated individuals to have sex changes? California, think of that one. That's literally what they're getting. No, I don't want my taxpayer money do I want my taxpayer money going to have Jewish schools to have funding for their security because of anti-Semitism? And then you get in the whole thing about really, what is it? Oh, it's just something that a Mossad agent will label you as. So now they are the ones that create the anti-Semitism, and as far as the facade of this, right? You just label someone that, and now you have a number it's higher anti-Semitism, and then you get funding for it. Oh, I see how this works. Additional measures. Fine has also supported broader efforts, including legislation to criminalize the distribution of anti-Semitic flyers or messages without permission. Bills that ban state contracts with entities boycotting Israel, applying to all contracts regardless of size. So there you go. You can't, he's taken away your right to contract. Now remember, his whole deal is, say what you want, do what you want. We're not trying to force anything, except we're trying to force this. a resolution calling Florida agencies to cut ties with the Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE, which he is accused of ties to Hamas. And if he were to bring up something in Congress or the state house or whatever that says we're going to shut ties with the ADL or AIPAC or something like this, he's called you anti-Semitic, okay? Fine argues that these laws are necessary to combat a surge in campus anti-Semitism and promoted the Florida model as a national template. Oh my God. Hi, Tyler. Hi, JC. Glad you made it in here today on Thursday. That's when we're doing our show. Anyway, so there you go. Randy Fine has introduced many, many laws talking about that. Now, let's talk about Tucker Carlson. He goes over this start, and I mentioned this last week, which is there was a little tweet back and forth between him, Tucker Carlson, and Ambassador, there we go. Let's start with this one. And Ambassador Huckabee, who's over there, we know about. He's met with Jonathan Pollard, the spy. And he's like, Ambassador Huckabee says, quit talking about me and talk to me. So Tucker's like, yeah, I'll come and interview you. And I was like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that, Huckabee. You just saw what he did to Ted Cruz. He eviscerated him. Please, for your own safety, don't do this because it's going to be bad. And actually, it's probably eminent. I'm looking forward to it. And evidently, so Tucker actually goes over there. He posted this picture. He said, greetings from Israel. And there's, Israeli flags and da-da. And then people ripped on him for this because evidently he was only going into the airport and then he's doing some, you probably have to go through customs still there, right? You can't just stay on the tarmac. So you've got to go into the airport itself. And in there, he didn't really, I guess, want to go into Israel. Probably has had threats against his life. So, and then I think that's where he conducted the interview, or time constraints. I don't know. Maybe he'll come out and talk to us more about this. But people are saying, oh, he didn't actually step foot in Israel. It's like, okay, come on. If I landed in an airport in Houston, I would say, hey, greetings from Houston. And they'd be like, you're in the airport in Houston, young man. And like, first of all, I'm not young. So anyway, that's where we starting out with that. And then evidently, there was a whole other thing. Let's go to this article here and let's talk about it. Tucker Carlson detained in Israel. Journalists dragged into interrogation room as explosive interview sparks diplomatic firestorm. This is leaked to the Daily Mail. Conservative podcasting titan Tucker Carlson said he and his staff were detained in Israel on Wednesday following an interview with Donald Trump's ambassador to the country, Huckabee. The former Fox News host flew into Tel Aviv for a sit-down with Mike Huckabee, who challenged Carlson to speak with him directly, following an online spat about the country's treatment of Christians. Carlson, who has frequently criticized Israel for its military actions in Gaza, took Huckabee up on his offer. But as critics and pro-Israel advocates began piling on Carlson for purportedly not leaving the airport during his brief visit, he revealed that he was met with hostility in the Middle Eastern country. Carlson exclusively told the Daily Mail that shortly after the interview, Israeli officials confiscated his passport and hauled one of his colleagues into an interrogation room. Men who identified themselves as airport security took our passports, hauled our executive producer into a side room, and then demanded to know what we spoke to Ambassador Huckabee about, Carlson told the Daily Mail. It was bizarre. We're now out of the country. Prior to the interview, Carlson posted a photo on X of himself and his business partner Neil Patel in front of the Ben Gurion airport on Wednesday with the caption, "Greetings from Israel." Too bad Tucker stayed in the airport in the face of so many invitations to see so many wonderful places. A huge and obviously intentionally missed opportunity, taunted David Friedman, the former U.S. ambassador to Israel during Trump's first term. Two similar sources familiar with the matter, however, told the Daily Mail that Israeli government initially did not want to allow Carlson into the country, prompting a delicate negotiation involving the State Department. In the end, the Israeli government decided not to bar Carlson from entering the country in order to avoid a diplomatic incident, according to Channel 13 report. So there's multiple sources here kind of saying, look, there was problems up front, okay, that they had to negotiate this, right? Because people are saying that Tucker's lying about all this. A spokesman for the U.S. Embassy in Israel denied that Carlson was detained. and claimed he received the same passport control questions that countless visitors to Israel, including Ambassador Huckabee and other diplomats, received as part of the normal entrance and exit from Israel. It is not accurate that Israel only was going to let Tucker into the country for the interview, representative added. The only engagement the embassy had with Israel about his visit was to coordinate his private plane landing as part of facilitating a seamless visit. It was Tucker who chose to only come into the country for a few hours and depart. Yeah, I would do the same. And Tucker received the same treatment of any visitor to Israel. The Daily Mail has contacted the White House and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office for comment. Carlson accused Huckabee last week on his YouTube show of not ensuring proper protections for Christians in Israel. Huckabee, who has known Carlson for more than 3 decades and previously worked with him at Fox, responded by inviting him to Israel for a discussion. Instead of talking to me, why don't you come talk to me? Huckabee wrote on X. Carlson replied, welcoming the invitation. Israel's popularity remains at an all-time low in the GOP among young Republican voters and Trump supporters. The Carlson-Huckabee event was reportedly an attempt by the Trump administration to prevent debates surrounding Israel from breaking the GOP's conservative coalition. That's a horrible move on their part. Sorry, my voice is having trouble. Trump urged Carlson and others within the GOP to ease off the internal fights with the Republicans over Israel. According to a Fox News anchor, Melissa Francis, everybody's looking for a way to turn down the temperature, Francis told the Jerusalem Post. President Trump is telling everyone, including Tucker, let's take this down. Carlson is a longtime ally of Vice President J.D. Vance and speaks with Trump on a range of issues, including last month, he visited the White House and met with Trump in the Oval Office on at least one occasion. Okay, so there's the news story. Now, I haven't heard anything other than this news story, so to see exactly what Carlson is going to say. But then there's people breaking up on the internet. This guy says, breaking, U.S. Embassy denies Israel detained Carlson. A spokesman for the U.S. Embassy in Israel told the Daily Mail that Carlson's claims were inaccurate and that he only received the standard passport control questions. Hopefully Tucker can clarify because I believe him. That's what this Ryan guy says. Shortly after Carlson's interview with Mike Huckabee in the Ben Gurion airport, the officials confiscated his airport and hauled off his now this guy's just repeating it. Men who identified themselves as airport security took our passports, Okay, so let's keep going on here. I don't want to talk about that one. So I want to get to, there's a video. Okay, so then people start posting stuff like this, and it's people like this guy with a lot of flag in his name and his you get it what I'm saying. The Middle Eastern country. Tucker Carlson is chicken shit. The guy who's been spouting lies about Israel for the past 2 years. So first of all, there you go. Now I'm like, okay, so you're saying he's telling lies. What has he been saying lies about? We've talked about this stuff before. I don't believe there's any lies going on. Landed today at Ben Gurion Airport, took a quick picture in the logistics zone, tweeted to pretend it's actually in Israel so he can later claim that he's a serious reporter who toured Israel. You don't have to do that kind of stuff. He's there to interview Huckabee. Make it where you want to be. These people are crazy. This is the Douglas Murray shit. Didn't even step foot in the country. Well, good. He's not tainted. Then made up a story that he's being supposedly harassed by our security. Didn't happen. Whined about it. Got back into a private jet and flew off. Next time he talks about Israel, if he comes, as if he's some expert, just remember this guy is a phony. Yeah. Fine, Mr. Naftali Bennett. I mean, he's probably the Messiah. I think that's, the name rings a bell. What is he, like part of their security or whatnot? I want to go on to here. That's this one I want to see. Not that one. There was a video I want to get to. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's play this guy's video. This is 53 seconds here. This, I don't know. I haven't listened to this. So this is, this go.
What's the best outcome you can see coming from this?
Silence.
Silence.
Yeah, that's it. Let's just stop fighting about Israel. That's the best outcome. Again, there's no illusion that, but what I see is
no, because
Tucker has control. Okay. Control of Americans under 30.
Okay.
It's frightening.
Very.
He really, my kids' high schools, they love him.
Good.
Listening to him, love him. So we are not going to change his opinion, but it would be great to stop talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's realistically, as a cynical journalist and human being, that's what we want to happen. Let's just move on to another topic.
I want to
talk
be
about the left again. You know, like.
Well, sorry, lady. Part of the problem is you guys have been so disgusting over there that it's just not going to happen. Okay, so people are going to be questioning these things. They can't help it. It's just what happens. Okay, here is a video that got released, and so this is the kind of crazy stuff though that we are coming to enjoy here. This says Ollie London. This guy. Let's see where he is. Let's do this. Go there and joined East Asia Pacific. Okay. Europe App Store. So likely, I mean, he's some European. Okay, that looks hideous. So there you go. That's who's putting this out here. He says, Tucker Carlson's lies unmasked after he is seen hugging Israeli airport staff member and posting for photo despite claiming he was detained and hauled off by security. Carlson appeared in great spirits and getting the celebrity treatment in Tel Aviv, even posing for a photo with a staff member. The fired Fox News host has claimed he was detained. Yeah, we talked about that. Okay. And then the embassy said it is not accurate that Israel was only going to let Tucker into the country for the interview. He also did not leave the vicinity of the airport despite being offered by various groups, including Christians, to visit different parts of the country. Okay, we don't know the reason why he turned that down, but it doesn't even matter to me. These people are crazy. And I'm saying, like the Israelis and the Zionists, you have to come and you have to tour our country. It's like, no, he's just there he's been there before. And so who fucking cares? He did not, his refusal to actually visit parts of Israel, meet with different communities, has exposed Carlson for his extreme anti-Israel. I mean, this is insanity. This is, you can say what you want about Jews, but if you dare come over here and do an interview in the airport and don't step foot in our country, it just shows how biased you are. And I was like, we don't know why, right? It'd be nice to come. Maybe he had scheduling issues, right? This was a last minute type of thing scheduled. Who knows? The latest incident was drawn further spotlight on Tucker Carlson's increasingly unhinged views, smears against Middle East's only democracy, and his praise for countries like Russia and Qatar. Okay. Note here, you can't praise Russia. You can't praise Qatar. You must, though, praise Israel. It's not okay to be neutral on this country. Okay. And they're not a democracy. You can't go around calling them a democracy when people can't vote in your country. There's whole sections of people who can't vote. It's just, it's doesn't work that way. It's not what it is. So let's look at this video. This is a security video. Now it's 20 seconds here. Okay. 22 seconds. Here it is. Tucker Carlson, security guy. Security guy gives his phone to this Mr. Patel, I think. He then snaps a photo of them together and then gives the phone back and then goes. Okay, now this guy is trying to make it sound like this is the interaction that Tucker's complaining about. No, I doubt that is so. I think this is a snapshot of at the end, things are all done, and he's given the chance to actually leave. Okay, I doubt that that's the only interaction, and that Tucker, made complaints about about this. Let's go to this here. There's the Israeli foreign minister's office here. They said Israeli Airports Authority, contrary to the reports, Tucker Carlson and his entourage were not detained, delayed, or interrogated. Okay, Mr. Carlson and his party were politely asked a few routine questions. Okay, so you can see here is what's your definition of detained? Was Tucker and his crew free to leave? Now, he was just asked a few routine questions. Okay, is that the same thing as interrogated? Possibly. Okay, a few routine questions might just mean asked interrogated, or interrogated might just be asked a few routine questions. In accordance with standard procedures applied to many travelers, the conversation took place in a separate room with VIP lounge solely to protect their privacy and avoid conducting such a discussion in public. Now, I would personally probably want this discussion in public so that people can see what's going on and you're not, pushing this on me in some weird way. And what if they said, no, you've got to come into this room? No. I mean, it's not, you have to understand that almost every time you go through the airport, you don't really, if you want to get on the plane, you don't really have many choices, right? You're going to go through. Now, if you're in a foreign country and they're saying you've got to come through and you're saying, no, do I have to? Yes, of course you have to. And that means detained. You got to think of these things in like criminal aspects, right? Which is you come into the police station. Are you being detained? Am I free to leave? No, I'm not free to leave. I think detained is the proper word there. I don't have any problems with that. So, and then plus it's the Israel foreign minister that's making these claims. So we just don't really know at all what the whole situation is. And so we need a little bit more information. All I'm doing is I'm just coming out here because then you have the Mark Levins and all the, the Ollie London talking here like, oh, he's Tucker Carlson is such a liar. I don't know. He's made some claims. It came out in the news. I'd like to see his point of view on all this and kind of have him say, what's interesting to me is if they were asking questions about what was asked to Mike Huckabee, that is problematic. I think that's very problematic. That's a U.S. ambassador, and you should not have to be saying anything to these people about what you had in your interview. And so they let him go. Okay, look, this happened to other people that have come back from places, and I think Elijah Schaffer made a big deal about like his passport and people. Now, do you believe him? Do you believe him? I swear I thought your name was D. Yankee. No, it's not. It's just Yankee. People call me Daddy Yankee because I'm old, I guess. So there you go. Let's try to finish this stuff off here. I had a few other little clips here. Let's just go here. Dan Bongino says, I'm elated that my interview with Director Patel pissed off all the right media people. I thoroughly enjoy watching all you rage out and claw at your own faces, along with your daily burning sessions of me in effigy as I destroy your bullshit narrative. I know Schadenfreude is probably wrong, but I gently hope that all my shows moving forward cause you the same anguish and intestinal fortitude. They don't. I didn't watch your show before. I've been playing clips here and there because you're you're really a fraud. Here's a 2-minute clip with he and Patel. Let's see what these two losers are up to.
I think you and I did a pretty good job. It really isn't hard when you focus them on the bad guys.
Well, it's not hard, Dan, as you know, as an 1811 and a former police officer, it's not hard to do the job you signed up for if you're allowed to do the job you signed up for.
Well, why'd you quit after 8-10 months then, if it was so easy?
And President Trump and this administration backs law enforcement and gave us the resources at this FBI and gave us the autonomy in you and I in running this building.
Right, the FBI that you were going to turn into a museum of the deep state on day one. See how things change? He'll go back. Mark my words. When this whole thing is done and over and Trump's out of office and the Democrat comes in because Trump is just destroying his popularity in the Republican Party, and a Democrat comes in and puts someone else in charge, you, Kash Patel, are going to say, oh, now they're using it wrong and the deep state needs to be destroyed. Now I want that museum. Now I want that museum. Yeah, it's only going to last for 3 years.
To remove the red tape, to remove the unnecessary approvals, and to get 1,000 extra agents. That's what we did, Dan. We put 1,000 agents into the field from Washington, D.C. We permanently removed them from the National Capital Region and sent them across to every single field office. And what did that do? It allowed people to hit the streets and investigate crimes, and it led to this. And I know you've seen this, but this is 1 year in the making of true historic reductions in crime. And you're talking about a 20% reduction in murder rate. You're talking...
We've talked about this. I doubt the federal, in 1 year, you think numbers are not immediate. And we've talked about this. Murder, as an example, is not a federal crime, except in some very limited circumstances. So this is, and I know Andy had said, they actually did make some changes by showing a little presence in Tennessee. Okay, there's one or two cities they can mention, but that's not what it's all down in general. It's down in general. It's a lagging indicator.
Talking about a 32% increase in fentanyl seizures, enough to kill 150 million Americans. Dan, you're talking about 4 top 10 arrests in 1 year, but as soon as you left, I had to add 2 more. So now we're up to 6. I couldn't let it stand at 4. So in 1 calendar year, we arrested 6 of the FBI's most wanted fugitives in the world.
You know what I'm talking about. I was
Epstein
busted my ass on that one.
Epstein people on the Epstein list? No,
I was
not
like,
them.
So, but hey, good job.
Anyway, those 2 losers are doing shows
Did a pretty good job. But, it really isn't hard when you focus them on the bad guys.
Well, it's not hard,
Why
Dan,
is this
as
not,
you know, as an
let me
18,
pause.
11, and a
Hang
police
on.
officer.
All right, that was
You
weird.
and I.
That was weird. Okay. Let's play the last clip here of
times have felt
Glenn Beck.
impressions from God.
We've played clip before of him talking about how I think he wrote a letter to Netanyahu and how he wanted to basically be Jewish or be a citizen of Israel. I want you to replace everything he says here. Now he's Mormon, so I imagine he worships the same God. But maybe we'll say instead of God, every time he mentions God, think of as Muhammad. Okay, and every time he says Israel, replace it with Saudi Arabia or Russia. Okay, what would you think of this kind of commentary in that case?
I at times have felt impressions from God.
Muhammad.
And, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, it was overwhelming. I know why I was born. This is why you are here. This is why you were born. And it is to stand at these times and to stand for the truth and to stand, not to sound grandiose, but to stand as other people in history have stood, especially for the Jewish people.
For Saudi Arabians, that's you got to, or Muslims. I'm just saying, use it in a different context and see how stupid this sounds. Or anti-American.
And it is humbling, a little bit terrifying, but a relief to finally know.
Okay. That really was babbling, and I thought it was going to be a little bit more pointed than that. I'd seen people posting about it. Let's check in on Robbie the Fire. I think he's still over here on Timcast. We'll just do a JIP, join in progress. They're talking over there. Let's see what's going on.
Times it does sound like what is he even talking about? But it's the weave. He can dodge difficult questions, and he can over jail.
Well, he walked in this from
I want to see if Robbie actually.
Bigfoot, Ray Epps. Give us all the conspiracies. I would love it if they actually had transparency on this stuff. I don't think Obama actually said anything. He was asked on the podcast, do you believe aliens are real? He basically said yes, but not because of anything I've seen from the government.
Okay, there's Robbie the Fire going off over there on Tim Pool. Enjoy that. Maybe go check it out. This is... I may do a show tomorrow, Friday. Thanks, Subliminal, for coming in here. Yeah, those are my cats getting crazy here. Bold to hold to record in the middle of a BM. Very much is. I may do a show in the morning tomorrow. So once again, go over to
what
Substack.
Dear to your heart?
There we go. TylerYonke.substack.com. You'll get notifications. I'll let you know if I'm going to come out in the morning. Maybe do a quick show. If some things change here, I'll do that. Otherwise, as always, check out the show. We're here every Thursday. And then I'm doing the Loser Cast a little bit. That one, I didn't do this last week. I just didn't do it. That's with Leighton. But check that out. This on Tuesdays. Other than that, people, I think we are out of here for the day. Don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, and come back next week for all your favorite. We're going to try to move away from the Israelis and the Jews at some point. Has to happen. See ya.
Okay, I'm leaving now.
But she's back.
And now.
Tyler, if you had any clout about you, if you had any like knowledge of the real world,
none of us are screaming, "Let's kill Tyler."
Tyler says, "My
Jewish princess."
You low key, you're one of the funniest dudes like in the like Liberty world that I know.
more or less, eat shit and die. He's just a podunk lawyer somewhere in like rural California. He's an idiot, really.
Takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick. I guess that's me. Keep fucking that chicken.
Do you see what he just did to Tyler? I feel like you don't get the appreciation for your humorous wit.
What are you talking about? I didn't say that. Why don't you argue with something I said, you dumb bastard?